Alright, so today we're going to talk about something super important. Skills. You've probably heard of the whole skill circle thing, right? Like tons of different skills out there. For example, at Vin School, they actually hired skill experts, like for writing, to figure out and list out 100 skills for the 21st century. Seriously, Google it. 100 skills of the 21st century. You'll see it pop right up. But then you gotta ask yourself, if there are like 100 skills, can we even learn them all? Are these 100 skills just like counting leaves on a tree? Or should we be digging down to the root of the problem, just trying to learn by counting leaves? Totally pointless. You could spend your whole life at it and still not get through them all. That's just not understanding cause and effect. The real deal with cause and effect here is we gotta zero in on the cause, like the core roots, really nail that, and then naturally the effects are gonna follow. On the flip side, if we're trying to teach all 100 of these skills, it's like piling it on the students. When are they ever gonna finish learning? Shoot, even teachers would have a hard time learning all that, let alone trying to make students learn it. It's a bummer, but a lot of education methods out there today don't really get this whole cause and effect thing. They tend to just list out skills they think are important, and then try to cram them into students. Take this really famous group in the US, for instance. They came up with 15 skills. Honestly, looking at this list of 15, I just gotta shake my head. Even I'd have trouble learning all 15 of those in my whole life, let alone trying to teach them to kids. So it made me wonder, what's the real core of skills? What's the one skill that's the most important, that kinda rules all the others? What skill is it that if you don't have it, you're basically screwed, but if you do have it, you can create a ton of other skills? To figure that out, I spent almost 3 years just researching and digging, and what I came up with is this diagram. To go from just a list of words to this visual diagram took me almost 3 years. No joke. You know, some diagrams you can learn in 5 minutes, but to create them, some took me 10 years, some a year. It took a ton of thinking, watching, breaking things down, and putting it all together. Like, when I read books about people who made it big, I'm always asking myself, what's the deepest, most solid foundation of their success? Going way back to when they were kids, what was going on inside them? Think about Abraham Lincoln. Wasn't he like the ultimate self-taught guy? Lincoln didn't have anyone teaching him, he taught himself, coming from this super poor farm family. Or Thomas Edison, who taught him? Nobody. Edison got kicked out of school in 2nd grade, and then he taught himself and made it. Bill Gates, the Microsoft founder, went to Harvard, but dropped out in his 2nd year. He never even officially graduated in computer stuff. So how did he become the tech kingpin of the world, still self-learning? Elon Musk, who started SpaceX and builds rockets, same thing. No college teaches you how to build rockets to launch into space. Musk taught himself, and now he's competing head-to-head with NASA. It's all self-learning. Looking back at the lives of all these amazing people, these saints and geniuses, throughout history, what they all have in common is this crazy strong ability to teach themselves. If you're missing self-learning skills, you're pretty much sunk. Think about Buddha, for example. At 29, he decided to leave everything and become a monk. He went to the 2 most famous teachers at the time to learn about spirituality. He learned everything those teachers could teach him, but he still wasn't satisfied. Those teachers couldn't solve his ego problem, you know? So, he decided to go deep into the forest and train himself for 6 years. Self-training, really. That's just self-learning. Anyone who's successful, you'll see their footprints are all over self-learning. This skill is way bigger. It's over everything else. Self-learning, that's the basic core skill. Self-learning skills become the foundation, the bedrock for you to build all your other skills. Once you've got self-learning down, you can learn all the skills that society needs all on your own. Say you jump into a sales department, there are 3 skills that are super important to nail. First, sales communication skills, talking to customers effectively. Second, product knowledge, really knowing everything about what you're selling. And third, closing skills, getting customers to actually buy. Just with those three, you're going to kill it in sales. So, if you already have self-learning skills, you only need to spend maybe 3 to 6 months really focusing on those three key sales skills. Boom. In 6 months, you could be the #1 salesperson. After about 2 years, you could move up to sales manager. And after 5 years, becoming a sales director is totally normal. So, self-learning is the most important skill, hands down. From self-learning, you can pick up all the skills companies are looking for. Do a great job, get raises, bonuses, promotions, and climb up to leadership. If you don't want to be a leader, that's cool. You can totally branch off and become an expert. Being a top expert is awesome too. No one's stopping you. What all top experts and great managers have in common is they can teach themselves. When the market changes, they learn and adapt on their own. They don't just sit around waiting for someone to tell them what to do. Teachers and mentors are just for backups, for ideas. In the real world, they gotta adapt first. Adapting first means they gotta look stuff up themselves, learn it themselves, figure out how to fix the problem themselves. Only when they're totally stuck, can't figure it out on their own anymore. Then they go looking for a teacher to ask. And get this, actually going to find a teacher is also a sign of self-learning skills. Showing up to class, that's self-learning too. But if someone else is dragging you to class, forcing you to learn, that's being learned, not self-learning. Self-learning skills are crazy important, but rote memorization and being obsessed with grades are the real enemies that kill this skill. How are rote learning and grade obsession going to help kids develop self-learning skills? When kids just memorize stuff to pass tests, when they're only focused on grades, how are they going to self-learn, self-think, and actually explore stuff? They just become passive parrots, just repeating what they've been taught. Rote learning and grade obsession are killing the most important skill you need in life. All teachers need to focus on teaching students how to learn on their own. That's the key to helping kids become independent and stand on their own 2 feet. With self-learning skills, kids get super confident in what they can do. If you're a parent, if you're a teacher, go all in on teaching kids how to learn on their own. Having self-learning skills solves like 60% of the problems in a student's life. If they can self-learn, do you need to be their tutor every night? Do you need to sit there and force them to do homework every evening? Right now, tons of parents are totally stressed out tutoring their kids every night, but I've never had to tutor my kids ever. Why? Because I'm always finding ways to install self-learning skills in them. Self-learning skills are really just 3 simple steps. We talked about it on the first slide, remember? Observe, analyze, synthesize. Just those 3. When learning anything, kids first gotta really look at the problem. When they're doing a math problem, they gotta read it super carefully. Google it to see how many different kinds of this problem there are. And read a bunch of different stuff. YouTube might have like 4 or 5 different ways to solve the same problem. They gotta watch them all. That's the observing step, and it's gotta be from all angles. Then, they sit down and break down all those different solutions, see which teacher's way is good, which one's not so good, what's the same and different about them. They gotta compare and contrast them. And finally, they put it all together, asking themselves, which way am I gonna use for this problem? With a kid learning on their own like that, do we need to sit there and tutor them anymore? No way. Their biggest teachers are already YouTube and Google. They can totally handle it themselves, self-learn, and even figure out and compare which teacher's good and which one's not so good. Once kids are taking charge of their own learning, us trying to tutor them is just extra, you know? Tutoring my own kids is super chill. Sometimes if my son Mitt is really messing up in school and the teachers or grandparents are complaining, my wife might say, "Quan, you gotta teach him." Then I'll sit down with him, grab the iPad or tablet. "Okay, what lesson are you stuck on?" He'll be like, "I read this, but I just don't get it." All right, grab that exact lesson and Google it, YouTube it too. Then let's read it together, you and me. I might not even remember the lesson myself. It's been ages, 20, 30 years. Who remembers all that stuff? So, Dad's just as clueless as you are. We're two clueless guys learning together now. So we watch videos, read stuff together. Afterwards, I ask him, if you Google it and a bunch of videos pop up that look kinda similar, which one should we watch first? Out of all the search results, which one does he pick? The one with the most views and comments, that's the famous teacher's video. Watch like 3 or 4 videos from different teachers, and he gets the solution right away. Maybe each teacher explains it a little different, but that's exactly what helps him really get it. Seeing it from different angles, breaking it down different ways. And that's how we grind away, father and son, for like an hour just to solve one math problem. Solving one problem in an hour compared to doing it quick in 15 minutes might seem slow, but an hour of self-learning is way more valuable than 15 minutes of me just showing him how to do it, right? After that, maybe the second hour we only get through one more problem. But the important thing is, he's learned how to learn on his own. Okay, Dad's gonna go to bed now. I'll check later how far you got. Sometimes he'll say, nah, I'm tired, I'm gonna sleep. Cool, go for it. 2 problems, probably enough for a C, enough to pass, that's good enough. So the next day, if he's struggling, I just tell him, alright, open the book, learn it yourself, and I sit next to him reading while he pokes around learning on his own. Life gets so easy, so good, thanks to self-learning skills. Giving your kids self-learning skills, that's like giving them a king skill. Once they've got that, what else do we gotta worry about? Imagine if all the people you hired had self-learning skills. Wouldn't that be amazing? Totally amazing. Run into a tough problem. Just fire up the computer, type in the problem, hit enter, find info, read up on it, and figure out how to fix it themselves. Give me a week to self-learn, and I'll have it done next week. I'll have learned it all. Having employees like that is the best. If we teach students like this, are our grads, even from the same college as everyone else, gonna be likely to be unemployed? No way they're gonna be unemployed. Not only that, but they're also gonna climb the ladder faster than everyone else. In 3 or 4 years, they could be department heads, VPs, while everyone else is still stuck as just regular employees. Self-learning skills are also the base for the whole constructivist method. Teachers can make it easy for students to self-learn using constructivism. Construction is just observing, analyzing, and synthesizing. Students self-construct, meaning they figure things out and understand them on their own through observing, analyzing, and synthesizing. What's awesome about constructivism is it helps students discover stuff themselves, instead of teachers just pouring knowledge into their heads. What do students got to do to understand? They gotta do it and discover it for themselves. Self-learning skills get a boost from 2 big things. First, the process of observing, analyzing, and synthesizing through constructivist methods. That's a major key. And the second key is building a reading culture in every student. Being able to learn from books is also a huge part of getting good at self-learning. To build a reading culture in schools, or at home, the librarian, or whoever's in charge, needs to be cool and friendly. At home, if you want your kids to read, parents gotta make a chill, comfortable vibe around reading. If you're always stern-faced, always yelling at your kids to go read, they're gonna read all stressed out, feeling trapped, and it's gonna be tough for them to actually love reading. Parents gotta show they enjoy reading themselves and actually read with their kids. School libraries should also be set up to be welcoming, nice-looking, interesting, and have a ton of great books. Kids should have reading logs. If you do this school-wide, every kid should have one. In their log, they write down the book title, when they started and finished, what the main points were, and what they learned from it. Doesn't matter if they write it perfectly or not, the point is to write it down. We can tweak it later. And we should give props to the best readers every week. If you can do these things, reading culture will just naturally sink in with students. No sweat. Of course, teachers gotta lead by example. If teachers don't do it themselves and just yell at students, it's gonna be tough to make it work. Combine these 2 things, constructivist methods and reading culture, and self-learning skills are going to pop up and take off. Big thing to remember is don't chase grades, don't just memorize stuff, and don't learn from model essays. If you're stuck on grades, obsessed with memorizing and tied down by those same old boring essays, self-learning skills are going to be stillborn right away, guaranteed.